This video has one Cypher setup for every single site, for every single map, including the maps in unrated and competitive. So save this video and let's get into it. Your first trip like this to prevent enemies from crossing, pair it with a nice little cage. And your second trip, just like this to prevent plant and prevent enemies crossing, pair it with a cage like so. Camera nice and high, like this. And as they come out, go crazy, you can activate your cages. And when they hit your tripwires, you can spray through. It's even better if they smoke you off. Tripwire like this. And a nice simple tripwire like this. Pair it with a cage over here. A cage down there. And when the barrier goes down, you can place a cam along this wall. As people are coming out onto site, they can't spot the cam. Beep, 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 beep. You can see them if they're hiding.
Cage triggered.
This tripwire prevents them if they're trying to jump across. And this prevents any jets or waylays pushing back site. My favorite camera, so you stand heaven, jump throw as high as you can. It watches into trees, you can see their legs. You can watch all of main and all of site. Your first tripwire you want to place like this, so it's very hard for enemies to break. And your second tripwire you can place over here. First cage, second cage, and you can play over here. As enemies push out, you can activate, spray. If they want to come and close a lever or plant, activate the second cage and spray through. You want to place your camera nice and high up here so you can watch into main and all of sight so no one can hide. Your first tripwire, like so. So if anyone wants to close a lever or push sight, and your second tripwire right there. And it covers all of this. You can pair it with one cage like this, and you can then save a cage for yourself, or you can throw it down there and play over here, or play CT. As people are pushing, beep beep, activate the cage, spray. All of this you can wallbang through, so if they try and take your camera dart out, go crazy. So for your camera, you want to stand in heaven, jump through in this corner. It watches showers and watches all of sight, so no one can hide. You want to place your first trip like this, pair it with a nice little one-way cage, like so. And your second trip, you can place in this corner to prevent the enemy from planting or pushing sight. A cage like this.
Cage triggered. Cage triggered.
Go crazy. Your camera can shoot a dart into TP if you want as well and catch enemies off guard. Stand on this box. Jump rope. Fantastic seam to long and hooker. Your first tripwire. Like this to prevent any razors or jets from pushing out. Pair it with a cage like this. And your second tripwire you can place right here and a cage like this. You can also do something like this if you're feeling fancy. This is how it looks. Beep beep.
Cage triggered.
A jet tries to dash out. No. Alright, so your first camera, you want to stand on this box. Wear it nice and high. Watches all of main and all of mid. Your first tripwire, you can place it on the barrier. Literally just like this to prevent enemies pushing. And your second one, you can do something like this. Cage right here. If they are coming from mid, if they're not coming from mid, when the barrier goes down, you can just place a tripwire over there. Your second cage, just like this, and you can play backside in this little corner. As they're pushing out, you can activate your cage, spray them down. You can even push into your cage and kill them, also trying to plant. Your first camera, you want to place it up like this. It watches everything. You can even see people pushing from mid to B. Your first tripwire along this box to prevent the plant. Pair it with a cage like this. And your second tripwire like this to prevent them pushing backside, and a cage like this. When they push out onto site, you can ping them with your dart. If they're trying to plant, you can activate this cage. You can walk into your cage and spray people down. And no one can hide from you. Your first camera, you can place it up here. It watches all of main and mid. Your first trip, something like this. Pair it with a nice one-way cage. Just stand in this corner of the box. Aim at the bottom of this line. Jump. Throw. And your second trip, you can place it along here with a cage like this, or in mid down there if you are getting pushed from mid. This is how it looks. Your camera can see everything. Activate the one-way cage as they're pushing. Spray them down, and then retreat. Use this cage as cover to run away, or to reposition, or even lurk into mid if you're feeling naughty. The most beautiful camera you can do is you want to stand up here, jump throw. It can see into main when the barriers go down. Your first tripwire in this corner. Like so, very hard to break with any utility. And your second tripwire in this corner, like this. You can pair it each with a cage, one like this, and another cage like this, and then you can play in heaven. See people pushing, beep beep, activate the cage, spray through, use an Odin if you want to annoy them even more. Yeah, the best camera you can do for A sites is like this. It watches dish, rope, and main. Best tripwire, something like this. Hard for the enemies to break. Pair it with a nice one-way cage, so walk over here. Aim anywhere on this line, because we want to bounce the cage off of that. And it lands like this, perfect. And your second trip, you can place it just like this. So enemies who are pushing from dish and from ropes will get caught in a nice little cage like this, and you can play backside. And this is how it's going to look from your perspective. You can ping people, activate the cage. If you hear steps main, activate this one way. Go crazy. It's even harder for them to break this trip with this one-way cage setup. My favorite camera to do on B site, just like this, above this little lamp. You can watch all of ropes, you can watch all of main, no one can hide. Your first tripwire, like this, pair it with a simple cage like so. If they keep breaking this, you can just change it to this one, which is very fancy. And your second tripwire can be for ropes if anyone decides to flank you, like this. You can have a cage over here, if you want, with your first trip, and a cage like this. Ping people with your camera, or if they're pushing main, use an Odin. You can spray anyone down, no one's going to plant, you can annoy them, make them rage quit. For the best camera on A, you want to jump onto these boxes from heaven. You want to jump through your camp as high as you can get it, like this. It watches all of sight. It's very hard for the enemies to break. Your first tripwire, like this. And your second tripwire, like this. You can have a cage set up over here, a cage set up over there. With this setup, you can play backside. As enemies push, you can spray. Or if you have an Odin and in heaven, go crazy. Sovas cannot shock dart this. They usually shock dart in this main area, so you're safe. If you are playing BS Cypher, try not to, but you can do a cam like this, so enemies who do push out are not going to have a nice time. You can do a simple triple like this when the barrier goes down, and then anything like this. Cage, cage, play backside. As they're pushing out and taking the dart, beep beep, you can push up inside your cage and kill everyone. The best setup for C. You'll jump onto this box, you want to place your camera nice and high, jump throw. You can see into spawn, so when the barrier goes down, you can see who's taking orb. You can also see some of garage and all of C. Pair it with a nice trip like this. Sovas cannot shock dart this trip, especially if they shock dart into this area, it's protected. Your second trip you can have over here to prevent the plant. Cage 1, cage number 2, play down here. Come out onto side, peep peep, spray. If they try and plant, they can't. You can use this cage to push up or even wallbang. If they go through garage, you can get rid of this trip and simply skadoosh, and you're protected from garage and C. Icebox is a little bit tricky because you have to place these trips when the barrier goes down. But your first camera like this, it watches literally everything. And these trips are very quick to place, but do them when the barrier goes down. Your first one like this, and your second one like this. Cage over there, cage over there. You can play behind this little box. As people are coming out, beep beep.
Cage triggered.
Spray. If they are pushing up to try and plant,
Cage triggered.
you can use this cage to move out. Spray them down. And the cam can watch all of this for you. Your first camera, you can place it here, so if enemies are pushing, this camera's behind them, so it's hard for them to shoot. You can see everything. Your first trip, you can place it along this box to prevent enemies pushing backside at all. And your second trip, to deny the plant, you want to place in this little corner like so. Pair it with a cage over here, and you can save your second cage for yourself in heaven. As enemies are coming out, beep beep, you cage yourself off if they hit the first trip, and if they're trying to plant, go crazy, and you're protected the whole time because they cannot hide from this strip, and they will always be exposed to this strip. Right, the best cam you can do on A side is just like this, jump throw. You can see all of main, people pushing into stairs, and anybody pushing side from doors. Fantastic camera, hard to break. Your first trip, just like this. You can do something like this if you want. People tend to nade this corner, so your tripwire will get broken straight away. You can pair this with a one-way cage, so stand in this corner. You see this dark patch I'm zooming into right now? Just aim and throw. This dark patch is the same on low graphics. It's very easy to do. Your second trip, you can place it along this box in this corner. It prevents people pushing out and pushing backside this way. Pair it with a nice cage like this. This is how your setup's going to look. If people are pushing, this tripwire can delay. Activate the one-way cage. And if people are pushing this way, you can usually hear from the doors, ping, beep, beep.
Cage triggered.
Swing. You can even push into this cage, kill the guy planting. B-site is a little bit hard to defend, so you can do a camera like this, which sees everything and including Link if they break the door down. Your first trip can be a simple one like this with a cage like that. And your second trip you can do just like this to prevent the plant. Cage over here. You can play backside. If you don't like doing this basic tripwire, you can switch it up for something like this to prevent enemies pushing this way. And you can have one cage over there and one cage in the center to throw them off guard. Like this. This is how that setup's going to look. So do this camera and see. You want to stand on this ledge. Place it on this rose petal over there. Like this. It sees everything. Very hard for the enemies to shoot. Your first tripwire can be something like this to prevent enemies pushing backside or to prevent omens TPing into this corner. And your second trip can be like this. Cage number 1. And then you can save cage number 2 for up here. This is how the setup's going to look. Hit your first cage, you can spray through this, you can use this for cover, and you can use this if you need to rotate to backside.
Cage triggered.
So you're protected the whole time. If you want, you can use these lily pads, or these little flowers over the lily pads to switch up your setups a little bit. Once you jump onto this box, you can place the camera nice and high. It watches all of sight and people who are pushing you from art. Very good cam, hard to shoot. Your first tripwire, and something I think you should do quite often, is if you place it in this corner, it covers the entirety of sight and no one can plant or push back sight with this one. And your second tripwire, you can place along this light bulb to actually prevent enemies hiding in this corner or pushing this way. Pair it with 2 different cages. You could do one cage on this side, and then another one down there if you want to push into it, or one over here, so you can take different angles. This is how the setup's going to look. Beep, beep. You can activate your first cage. Spray him down. You can walk into this cage to kill the guy that's planting as well, which is very nice. You can use the cam to spot people if you are playing under heaven. If someone's ping, taking the dart out or planting, you can actually wallbang all of this. I kind of missed, but it's okay. And if you are playing B site, you can just throw a camera up just like this. It watches all of B main people pushing in, and it can also watch mid, so your flank is being watched at all time. And it can see backside and heaven if you are doing retake. Fantastic camera. Your first trip you can place just like this to prevent enemies from planting anywhere in this area. And your second trip you can place along this box like so to prevent enemies like Jets or Rainers pushing backside. You can pair it with a simple cage like this, and then one cage down there. You can play it over here, or you can play backside. As enemies are pushing out onto site, you can see them with the camera, beep beep. You can activate cages, spray down, reposition if you want, or go down there. My favorite camera to do on A is I want to walk into this corner in heaven, and I want to place my camera along this ledge. So it's facing ever so slightly away from me. Jump, throw. Can see into main, so as soon as the barrier goes down, I can get all the information I need to see how many people are pushing A, and it obviously watches all of A. You can place a tripwire if you want for your teammates who are playing in heaven, a cage like this to prevent enemies pushing into heaven. And then your second tripwire you can place down here along this box in this corner, so it's hard for enemy shock darts to break it, especially if they dart in this area. You can pair it with a nice simple cage like this, and then you can play backside like this. This is how it's going to look. People push. If they're taking a dart out in this corner, you can just swing out a little bit. Kill them if they're walking out to side. And then obviously your setup in heaven can prevent enemies pushing this way if you have some nice teammates to help you out. If you're watching mid, you just need one tripwire like this. It'll be fine. Best camera you can do on B side is if you stand on this box, you want to aim really nice and high and just jump through. Boom. It's a one-way camera for anybody pushing B main, and you can also watch heaven. Your first trip can be literally like this in case enemy raise nades in this corner or shock darts. This tripwire is fantastic. Pair it with a one-way cage, so walk into this door. Very easy. You see this wooden pillar number 1, wooden number 2, and number 3. Aim right here where I'm looking. Very easy to do. You get a nice one-way cage. And your second tripwire can be used on site. So aim at the corner of this metal grate like this. And you can pair a cage just like this. And this is how you're going to play. People are pushing. Your camera will see them. Beep, beep. Activate the one-way. Swing. And then if they are overwhelming you, you can activate this cage to reposition to go CT. Or you can play over here and kill the guy that's trying to plant and push backside because you've got that tripwire down there. So something like this is fantastic. My favorite cam is to place one up here. It watches link, main, and all of sight. Your first tripwire you can place along this cylinder. It goes into this corner so no enemies can push and hide into this corner. You can pair it with a simple cage like this. And your second tripwire, you want to aim at this corner of this box, like so. Your tripwire will go all the way across. You can pair it with a simple cage like this, and you can play either over here, or you can play really far back side. I like playing over here. And this is how it looks from your perspective. Enemies pushing, beep beep. The first round, you can spray through this box if they're trying to take the dart out. You can spray in this corner. The second one, you can activate the cage, spray, and use this to rotate up. Use a camera to spot anybody else. And go crazy. My favorite camera you can do on B side is like this. It watches market and main. A nice tripwire you can pair it with is something just like this. Hard to break. You can even pair it with a one-ways. If you walk into the center of this tile, aim at the bottom of this arch, like this. You get a pretty easy one-way cage. And your second tripwire you can place just like this to prevent enemies planting and from pushing backside. Pair it with a little cage like this. And this is how your setup's going to look. Just like this. You can play in this corner. People are coming. Activate the one-way cage. Spray them down. If they are pushing to plant, you can use this cage to spray them. You can push into this cage and kill them like this. Or you can use this one to reposition and run away if you are getting overwhelmed. If you don't want this tripwire, or you're getting pushed from mid, you can simply do something like this for market. And you'll be golden. You'll be chilling. That's all. I hope this video helps you guys out. Feel free to subscribe, like, share the video, comment, let me know what you want to see next. Feel free to join my Discord server too if you want extra Cypher tips and to meet more Cypher mains. And I will see you guys in my next video.